Greetings from the offices of Tucker First United Methodist Church and from your pastoral staff here at the church. We are sending out these greetings on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then a worship service on Sunday, and I'm glad that so many of you are able to follow along with these videos. As we get started today, I want to begin with a verse of Scripture just to offer some words of encouragement for us. From the 16th chapter of 1 Corinthians, verse 13, Paul writes these words, "Stay awake, stand firm in your faith, be brave, be strong." And I think those are timely words for us today, and the admonition is to pay attention to what's going on, to be alert, but also to stand firm in our faith. And it has been encouraging to me to see the ways that so many of you are standing firm in your faith at this time. That passage from 1 Corinthians 16 goes on a few verses later in verse 19. Paul writes these words, "Aquila and Priscilla greet you warmly in the Lord, together with the church that meets in their house." As we are meeting as a church family in homes now, again, these words seem to be timely for us, and they come as an encouragement for us to pay attention to what's going on and to stand firm in our faith as we are doing so. I pray that you will be able to do those things as the church is gathered in your home at this time. Today there are really three things that I want to lift up, words of information for us. The first involves some opportunities for ministry that are coming up, and in these moments where we are not able to gather for worship, and when so many or all of our small groups have been discontinued, there is one opportunity for ministry. Last week we were contacted by the Red Cross, and they let us know that at this time, when essential surgeries still are taking place, they are running low on blood, and were asking us if our church could host blood drives. And we currently have 2 dates scheduled. I want to make sure that you get that information and a couple of words about those blood drives coming up. We will have this information, I believe, on the screen. It's also available on the church website. The first day for the blood drive is this Thursday, March the 26th, from 2:30 until 7:30. The second day is next Wednesday, April the 1st, again from 2:30 to 7:30. And for those blood drives, the Red Cross has a mechanism in place where we will be able to honor social distancing. And to participate in the blood drive, you are going to have to sign up in advance, and you will be given a time that you can come to give blood. Many of you have already responded to that. In fact, the Thursday date of this week has already filled up, but there are still some open spots available for next Wednesday, and we would invite you to sign up to be a part of that blood drive next Wednesday. In addition to the donations for blood, we also have a need for people to volunteer. We do not need very many people, but we do want a few people to be willing to help out both Thursday of this week and Wednesday of next week. If you would have a little bit of time, you do not have to be there the entire time, but if you could do a 1 or 2 hour shift, we have an opportunity to sign up on that using the Sign Up Genius that is on our church website, and you can sign up there to participate in that. If you need to sign up to give blood, there are 2 ways you can do that. One is to call the Red Cross. That number is 1-800 REDCROSS. You can call that phone number to schedule a time to give blood, or you can go to the Red Cross webpage at redcrossblood.org, and if you do that, then you will need to enter the code TUCK1UMC, and that will get you the access to sign up to give blood. At a time when so many of our ministries are having to be postponed, this is an opportunity for us to participate in a vital ministry out in the community and making sure that hospitals have adequate blood for surgeries that are necessary at this time. The second thing that I want to say today involves a follow-up to some announcements that have gone out pertaining to our church finances. This past Sunday in our worship service, we did issue an appeal for people to try to be diligent in continuing to financially support our ministries, and you have responded to that. Our people, our congregation, have been very generous and faithful, both dropping offerings in the mail, bringing them by the church, and many of you are taking advantage of the online giving opportunities that we have. And first of all, I simply want to thank you for the way that you have responded to that appeal, but I also want to remind you that this is not a one-time thing. In the foreseeable future, we are going to need you to continue that support and able to continue the ministries that we offer as a church family. Our finance committee is meeting weekly and trying to be as diligent as they can in staying on top of all of the things pertaining to this. They are looking at things from top to bottom and trying to discuss everything that is involved in this. Sometimes it's necessary to make some difficult decisions, and while those are not fun, our finance committee is considering all things that might need to take place. A lot of this is uncertain, but they are having those conversations, and each week the Finance Committee will be getting an email out to you, updating you on some things that are taking place. I do want to emphasize how critical it is that we be timely in our financial support of the ministries of our church. The decisions that the Finance Committee is talking about, thinking about, discussing involve things about prioritizing our ministries, the things that we will be able to continue, and if there might be things that we have to discontinue for a time being that could possibly involve some ministry and mission that we are engaged in as a church. It could possibly involve some staffing issues as well. The Finance Committee is working with that, and the more timely we can be in our financial support, the easier those decisions are going to be. I appreciate the work that our Finance Committee is doing and having some difficult conversations about the reality of where we are now. And as you continue to show the kind of support that you have shown recently, that will make those decisions much, much easier. If you have not been able to contribute financially at this point, if you are able to do so, we would strongly recommend, encourage you to be a part of the mission of our church at this time. The final thing that I want to lift up today involves something that I have mentioned earlier, but we have a little bit more information. We are making arrangements to get some elements for Holy Communion to be consecrated so that as our churches are meeting in homes at this time, that in your home you will have consecrated elements to serve Holy Communion with your family. And we are making arrangements for that, but we're not quite ready to get those elements out to the homes yet. And so what we would like to encourage is for families to consider hosting a love feast in their homes. The love feast is a long tradition in many churches, and we are going to send you a link where you can follow the liturgy, the order for a love feast. There will also be a link that you can go to and see what a love feast looks like. And until we get the consecrated elements for communion to you, as an alternative to that, we would invite you to consider having love feast in your home. And as we continue this video, I would like to share with you some words simply about the love feast from the Book of Discipline. The United Methodist Book of Worship has a lot of good information about the love feast, and I'm not going to share all of that information, the background with you, but I do want to highlight a few things, and I believe the link that will go out that you can connect on will take you to all of the background information if you want more. But let me share with you from the Book of Worship a few simple things about the love feast. The love feast, or agape meal, is a Christian fellowship meal recalling the meals Jesus shared with the disciples during his ministry and expressing the koinonia, or that is the community, the sharing, the fellowship enjoyed by the family of Christ. Although its origins in the early church are closely interconnected with the origins of the Lord's Supper, the two services have become quite distinct and should not be confused with each other. The love feast has often been used at occasions when the celebration of the Lord's Supper would be inappropriate, such as when there is no one present who is authorized to administer the sacrament of the Lord's Supper. In the United Methodist Church, an ordained elder is required to consecrate the elements for Holy Communion to be celebrated, and where that is not possible, the love feast is a great way to celebrate a time together. A few closing words about the love feast. The love feast is most naturally held around a table or with persons seated in a circle. And it goes on to mention that a home is an appropriate location for a love feast. One of the advantages of the love feast is that any Christian may conduct it. Testimonies and praise are the focal point in most love feasts. Prayer is vital to the love feast. Scripture is also important. Most love feasts include the sharing of bread. It is customary not to use communion bread, wine, or grape juice, because to do so might confuse the love feast with the Lord's Supper. And then these closing words. The love feast may also be followed by a full meal. During the meal, there may be informal conversation in Christian fellowship, or the leader may direct the conversation by suggesting matters of mutual concern. Those important parts of a love feast are things that can take place within our homes, and until we get some elements for Holy Communion consecrated and out to the homes for you to celebrate Holy Communion, again, we would strongly encourage you to consider hosting a love feast with your family in your home. This afternoon, I'd like to simply close where I began with that verse from 1 Corinthians 16, verse 13. Stay awake. Stand firm in your faith, be brave, be strong. And we invite you to continue to be alert to what's going on and things that we can do to be as safe as we can. But also, let me encourage you to continue to stand firm in your faith, to be brave and be strong until that day comes when we are able to get together again as a community of faith, worshiping together and fellowshipping together in one place. God bless you today.